I suffered with so much in my gut. I was bloating, like it was all in the lower world basically. So I was lost of periods. I didn't have a period for 6 months. I had severe acne all on my face here. So bad. I had brain fog all the time. I had anxiety, panic attacks. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think straight. I was messing up in work. My body was just screaming it needed help. With the Limbic work, diving into that straight away was incredible. After the first week or first few times, it was like I was present in the moment. It's like that mental chatter in my brain was like slowly fading in the background. I didn't have a period for 6 months. I lost my period, and within that first month I had 3 periods in 1 month, even though obviously that's not normal, but it was my body detoxing. It was incredible because the shift, I could see that my body was shifting with food, the Olympic stuff that I was doing, and that was only the first month. I was like, goodness, what's going to happen in 3 months in like time if I keep going?
Well, awesome to have you. And I'm curious, my first question is, what led you to consider the program? And you and I were met through a mutual friend at a dinner. And I don't know how we got onto the topic, but it often happens with me because people are like, what do you do? And then I say, I help people with nervous system, chronic conditions, things like this. And then someone will say, oh, I know someone, or I've been dealing with, or like, so it's a little bit in my sphere. But there was some things that obviously lead you to consider the program in terms of symptoms that are arising or just where you're at in your life. Would love to talk about those.
Yeah, well, obviously meeting you and seeing all your knowledge and your story behind it really empowered me to like I felt like an intuition was kind of calling at that point as well, because there was so many things kind of aligning with what you were saying with linked to me. And
Mm-hmm.
also with you having your yachting background was where my me and also me having a yachting background was also where all my symptoms started arising.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like a link with me as well. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had the call with Jess, and having the call with Jess was like a healed version of myself. So all of her symptoms that she went through, everything that she went through her life, she was just filling me with so much hope, and
Mm-hmm.
that this is possible, because I was lost all hope, to be honest. I tried everything, and after speaking with Jess, it was like a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love to hear about sort of what the progression was, because I think everybody goes through their own journey when they sort of start to get chronically ill or whatever it is that they're dealing with. Um, for me, it was progressive to the point where now that I know what I know and I look back on it, I'm like, oh, this started when I was like 14 or 15 sort of thing. Um, if you look back on your journey, and it might be a lot shorter than that, it might have just started when you're on the yacht sort of thing. And I'm curious, you know, what was it that started arising in terms of symptoms? Um, was it purely stress induced, or was it partying, or was it food, or anything else? Just curious if you can.
Yeah. Well, thinking back, with all the deep diving that I've done, I would say it did actually start before, when I was in my teens, like 15 years old. Because I was always on a diet. Always, as soon as I was at that age, I was putting myself on a diet, hammering the gym all the time, trying to be someone different to who I am.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously, it made
Trying to live up? Is it like sort of an expectation there, like when you,
yeah. I was
societal expectation maybe, or?
Yeah, trying to be someone that I'm not, and trying to do things to fit in and everything like that. And then when I went into yachting, it was kind of heightened massively, and the stress of the environment and then trying to fit in with the crew and people.
And yachting, for those that are listening, is when you're working on private motor yachts or sailboats and you crew them and you look after the boat and you do different things of interior cleaning and exterior cleaning and engines and all the stuff that a big boat needs. So you're working on the boats doing that. And it can be a very stressful environment because you've got to, it's like a remote island almost in its own thing. Like, 7 crew or 50 crew on some of the bigger ones, and it can be quite challenging with the different emotions that are going on with different people. And yeah, probably like a corporate environment or something like that. I've never been in a corporate business, a corporate job, but I imagine it's probably a little bit similar.
Yeah, imagine a corporate job, but you can't leave your workspace.
Right. Yeah.
To live, and you have to, live, work, survive, boat with each other, and you can't escape. You can't go for a walk. You're in the middle of the ocean. So,
you're in these beautiful tropical areas in the Mediterranean, all these amazing places. But actually, one of the things that I learned in that environment is like, it actually doesn't matter where you are. You can be in this like beautiful tropical island, but you can also be in this kind of personal, challenging situation.
no,
No.
yeah, if your internal state isn't great, then your external state, no matter. I was in French Polynesia, Bora Bora, and I was just so lost within myself, and I couldn't be present in my life and actually experience the beauty of what I was experiencing. And it's really sad in a way, because I look back at my yachting career now, and I was on some good boats and I went to some amazing places, but my internal state wasn't great, and it was affecting my external experiences in life. If I was to go back into it now, I would say, with how strong my nervous system is now and how strong I am as a person, I think it will be a completely different experience, because I'll be able to control my environment, because I've got control within myself.
That's amazing.
That's
Awesome. Well, yeah, I would love to, if you're open to diving into like some of the things that were coming up for you through that challenging time. I know when we met, even in the restaurant, you were sort of expressing a few physical symptoms and things like that. But what was the sort of journey, like what arose? I think it's really interesting to kind of go through this in a little bit more detail, because so many people are going through this journey, right? There's like 1 in 6 with autoimmune, 60% of America with chronic health conditions. And I think it's sort of slowly creeps up onto us. And for me, it was like almost forgot what it was like to be energetic and clear-headed and focused before, because it was over so many years that I sort of slowly fell into like brain fog. And that was just my human experience, It just felt like what it's like to be human. Forgot what it was like to be full of energy. So yeah, it's just really helpful to go through the journey, because then I think people can relate to different stages of the journey of like when things come up.
Yeah. So with me, I suffered with so much in my gut. Like I was bloating, like it was all in the lower world basically. So I was lost of periods. I didn't have a period for 6 months. I had severe acne all on my face here, so bad. And I went to the doctors and everything about it, but they would just like go on the pill, or they would just like get Raffatine, and that just didn't sit well with me. I had brain fog all the time. My mental state was the worst, to be honest, out of everything. I had anxiety, panic attacks. I couldn't be in I was so stressed in social situations, and it was really overwhelming, and my mind was in a complete spiral, and I couldn't focus. I couldn't think straight. I was messing up in work. I was doing some really lot of damage in work, actually. And my body was just screaming it needed help. I couldn't lose weight, no matter what exercise I was doing, no matter what diet that I put myself on, because I did so many yo-yo diets. I did juice cleanses. I did so many things, and nothing was just shifting. And I just completely wanted to give up. I was like, there's no hope in anything. And it was heartbreaking, and I just felt so depressed and like sad, and there was just no hope in life really, because I was trying everything possible, like so many things. I would get um different diets, going to do like different changes in environment and seeing doctors and therapists and everything like that, but it wasn't it was externally that I was looking for it, instead of I had to go internal with it. So
Mm-hmm.
once I obviously gone internally with it and started to heal, because your body, I've learned now that your body holds so much emotion, and with like your gut and everything. So learning all of those emotions within the body and healing the body instead of getting external healing coping
Mm-hmm.
mechanisms, then that
Mm-hmm.
really changed for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was kind of all my symptoms and journey.
So you like kind of tried a bunch of different programs and things like that. You said from about the age of 15 or so, and then how old are you now?
26.
26. So about 11 years you've been trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And have you noticed like a sort of worsening over that period of time, or is it just big fluctuations? You have like a little bit of a breakthrough maybe, and then you kind of revert back
Yes.
or
So
default back or,
at 15, it was kind of like I needed to change myself. And that was when but I was so young at that time. So I was just trying to hammer the gym all the time and do all these diets to change the way that I look, to change my body. I think that was the root cause of like me wanting to change. And
mm,
say like you wanting to change yourself isn't like you need to be who you are. You need to embrace who you are. So I think that was the root. That was the start of it. And then going into like different stressful environments and everything like that, and it kind of just heightened. And then I took a year out of yachting to try and heal myself, because it got really bad. I got actually let go from a job because I was messing up, because my mental state wasn't great. And
mm,
they were like, Gemma, we love you as a crew member, but you're not in the right state of mind to be on here. So they
mm,
let me go. And then that's when I knew that I needed to take some time out. I went traveling. I lived in Australia and I did my yoga teacher training in Bali. Um, when I lived in Australia, I was still in that state because I was trying to find different places to live to make me happy, different things to do to make me happy, but the happiness wasn't it was the unhappiness was within me. It wasn't the external environment. So it was following me to these different places.
yeah. You're like, I'm trying everything. I'm changing all the environments.
I moved to Thailand. I moved to Thailand and I lived in Australia, and I was like, this is all still following me. Why am I still? I'm chosen there. And then I did my yoga teacher training in Bali, and that kind of got me into a really good place. I completely shifted. I awakened to so much within myself. I was in touch with who I was a little bit. And then after I did my training, that was kind of like my awakening in a sense. And after I did my training, the whole spiraling of life happened again. And you were like, because I didn't have a job at that point, I was like, okay, I need to go back onto the boats. Yeah, you've done all of this work within a year of taking some time out, but you need to get back into work. You need to get back into doing this. And um, so I went back into yachting, and it completely spiraled because that was a
Mm,
environment for me.
mm,
The triggering environment, completely, my nervous system just wasn't prepared for it, and it just went into a state of fight or flight again, and it spiraled and spiraled and spiraled
mm,
again. And then it literally was in another rotation. So I did a year on the boat, and then I was like, I can't do this again. I can't be in this state again. I need to do something about it. So then I quit my job and I was like, I'm going to move to Bali. I'm going to pursue a career of yoga teaching, or I'm going to pursue something that I want to do for my passion, my heart. Moved to Bali, and then it was still with me. This whole thing was still with me. And I was even worse. I was putting so much pressure on myself. My body was giving me even worse signs, that my acne got worse and my bloating got worse and my whole spiraling got worse in my mind. And I was trying so much over here. I'm in an environment, I'm in Bali and it's my favorite place. I'm eating healthy. I'm doing exercise every day. I'm taking time for myself. But why is this still happening? Like,
Mm.
why is my body still giving me all of these signals? Why is my mind still so mentally cluttered? And I was trying everything and then I lost hope. And then I met you, Scott, and then you told me all of yours. And then I just got a feeling that something was good about this program.
Mm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that changed.
Yeah, thanks for breaking that down. And maybe something we could talk about a little bit later, but I remember you were in that we talked and then you were thinking about it and you were like, yeah, but I need to get back to work, and you're contemplating, going back to the yachts or working on your house. So you've got a window of time where you've got, enough money to keep you going to really just focus on yourself and focus on your health, or it's like go back to work. And we talked about like getting better, getting grounded, like getting the tools that you need so that you can then go out back into the workforce and go back with a full, you know, head of energy and like body that's working and like all that sort of thing. And the comparison between if you went back now and sort of like the ability and money you might make if you did go back, or going back like fully switched on and like, having everything working properly.
Yeah.
So then you can go back and like progress in your career. And I know you're probably changing careers away from the boats and things like that, but maybe we could talk a little bit about that afterwards. But it's that transition point, I think, that people get into. And it's like, I think even like, there's a lot of mothers and things like that that think about joining the program, and they're like, I've got to look after the kids. I can't focus on myself, and it's like, there's just that you've got to try and find and create that little chrysalis for just a little while, even if it's just like a month, to just get things like moving, get the health like really start to turn around.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a little bit more energy, a little bit more capacity to deal with like some of the hard things that are coming in. And it's that point of like decision, like this or that, I think is really important to emphasize. And I just like to, yeah, it's interesting everyone's journey, like when they come across this point where they have to make the decision, and or everyone's tried a lot of different things before, and they're trying to figure out, is this the thing? So I'd love to talk about when you joined the program. What was sort of maybe some of the aha moments that you had when you joined? Like I remember you posting up in the community probably like within a week or something about the limbic system. I'm curious, like, what was your journey of learning, and yeah, what were some of the things that really stood out and sort of resonated with you and made sense?
Yeah, so with the Limbic work, diving into that straight away was incredible because a lot of mine was my mental state that I was struggling with, and living in the present moment and having the focus with my day to day. Um, and doing Olympic work after the first week or first few times, it was like I was present in the moment. I could feel that I was present in the moment. I could feel my mind was thinking, okay, what do I need to eat? Where do I need to go? What do I need to do today? Who do I need to show up for? Who do I need to call? It's like that mental chatter in my brain was like slowly fading in the background because from the Olympic work, it was just helping me fully be present and also make more, because I was setting an emotion with the Olympic work. You're feeling it within your body, so it was helping me see things in a lighter way because you do it with gratitude and you do it's enlightens you as a person. So instead of like going into things with fear or like all of these pressure things that I need to do, like what am I going to eat? Like it's kind of like stresses. It was, yeah, just making me enlightened more as well, which is living in the present moment and enlightened as well.
Mm. Giving more, it's more awareness, hey, of like it's giving you so much more awareness of different things. And with the limbic work, we're helping people reprogram the neural pathways. So when you do that exercise, I mean, in your day-to-day life, as we go through life, the brain can sort of start to shrink a little bit because there's a lot of things going on, and it has to sort of protect itself from a very overstimulating like environment and world we're in at the moment. And it shrinks and shrinks to the point where it almost can't cope with interactions and things like that. And you mentioned even being with friends or parties or things like that. It's just like too intense. And you get anxiety and all that sort of stuff starts to come up. And with the limbic system work, we're creating new neural pathways of safety and calm. And so you actually start to kind of rebuild the brain to be in a resting state of awareness and presence. And you find in that place, life is a lot easier to cope with.
Life changing, honestly, not just
Yeah.
being those mental clutters or mental chatter that just fades away. It's just incredible. And you see, like, say for moms that want to join the program, if they're not so busy in their mind, they can fully be present with their like kids and things. And that was the same. Like I was trying to start working on some stuff for myself, and I was fully present with doing like some work for myself. And instead of worrying and stressing about it, it's a good skill to master.
Yeah, yeah. And so you started with the limbic work, and then after a week or so, a couple of weeks maybe, you started to get into the diet because you want to try and start working on the mind and fixing the mind and those sorts of things, all the neural pathways. And then, of course, we have to heal some of the physical things that are going on and start to educate people about diet and plant toxins and how to rebuild the gut lining so that the gut can start absorbing food properly again. It's one of the core pillars. How did you find that? Was it challenging to move into a
To be honest, um, I I loved it. I loved diving into the soups and everything and the broths because it made me lose. Because I also, sorry, I forgot to mention, I also had an emotional binge eating disorder.
Mhm.
I'd go to food for a stress, like when I'm stressed to emotions, and it stopped me from having those cravings to do that. Um, and I felt so full and after the meals as well, and they were so yummy as well. So, and also within that first month, because I didn't have a period for 6 months, I lost my period, and within that first month, I had 3 periods in 1 month. So
Mhm.
that was a even though obviously that's not normal, but it was my body detoxing. And for me to go from 6 months without a period to having 3 in 1 month, it was obviously showing that my body was holding on to so much, and having that right release, like that was it was incredible because the shift, I could see that my body was shifting with food, the Olympic stuff that I was doing, and that was only the first month. I was like,
Yeah.
"Goodness, what's going to happen in 3 months in, like, in time if I keep going?" It gave me that motivation to
Mm.
keep going and stick to it, and, yeah, seeing those changes that quickly just were incredible.
Yeah, awesome. And so then you were doing the limbic work, and then you got into the diet, and then slowly we introduced like some of the lifestyle things, getting an awareness of like circadian rhythm and how the sun and the moon kind of affects the different hormones in the body and things like that. The cortisol, the melatonin, the serotonin, and how to balance all of those things out in the day, and like how important that is to the other cycles in your body. When you start, did you know about that sort of thing before, or
I didn't know about it in depth, but, yeah, no, I didn't know about it in depth really. I always got up super early anyway, and I didn't but I always would go to bed still quite late. So when I started going to bed, like, earlier, it also helped with the whole healing process because your energy levels do obviously dip, but when I was going to sleep in that cycle, so I'd wake up at, um like, yeah, 6, and then I'd go to bed at 8. So doing that cycle really helped my body recover. So
mm,
I know
mm.
the difference.
Yeah, awesome. So you're in a bit of a unique situation, and a lot of our clients are sort of in the northern hemisphere, and they can sort of make most of the weekly calls. We have different weekly calls on Limbic, nutrition, lifestyle, and community calls and things like that. So I don't think you made many of those, did you? You just had the one-to-one nutrition calls.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
had one nutrition calls, and then I would watch the replays back of some of the videos.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And so how did you find the support throughout the program?
Amazing, like so incredible. And the fact that you guys went out of your way to kind of like help with me with that was again another amazing aspect to the program. And Sarah is incredible. She helped me so much through my nutrition, through advice on what I should other things that I could get. She helped me with colonics that she said that recommended, and that helped as well
Mm,
with clearing out my gut, and her knowledge was amazing with
mm,
everything.
awesome. And so, what's sort of on the cards for you now? I mean, you're about well, you've been in the program 3 months, is it? So not very long.
Yeah, yeah. Coming up to 3 months now. So
Coming up to 3 months. So it's been quite a fast transformation for you. I mean, a lot of clients that we have, I mean, depending on the stages in which they start, will be like 6 months. They really it depends on where they're entering the program, obviously, but it's been awesome to see you like it feels like it's just been like breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough with you like getting different messages and ups and downs, of course, and that's the journey. But it's
yeah.
been progressive curve upwards and to the right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I did have a one spiral when my brother came here in Bali for a holiday, and I did have one spiral when he was here. Through an emotion that was triggered, and then I went to an emotional binge again. But the after that, it was a week, and a week of being on a binge in that state knocked me back, and only with the week, but then with them being there, but then I realized that how I felt after that, it wasn't how I wanted to feel. So I was like, no, absolutely not. I'd never want to feel like that again from eating. I ate like sugar, and then I was eating starches again. And that with that week of them being there, because they were absorbing lots of food, and my body just I didn't like how it felt. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, I need to get back into having the broth, healing my body. But it was a lesson that I needed to learn. And
Mhm.
it was being in the strong state that I am from the program. It made me realize, okay, no, that was a trigger. That's what I needed to work on. And then now I can shift it. Like I now feel like I have the power to be able to shift my triggers and like heal them,
Mhm.
and them some more. So, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I think that's a really interesting thing to touch on as well, because I think there's always, with the protocols and things like that, it's like we're suggesting, okay, you want to do this daily for this reason and that reason. And I think people sometimes fall off the wagon a bit and then they kind of beat themselves up.
Mm.
But I think that journey that you can go through as well is of forgiveness for yourself. And I think a lot of it is also like finding love for yourself as well, right?
Yeah,
And realizing that you're not perfect and it's a journey. And I know it was for me as well. I fell off many times, but just getting back on and like, encouraging yourself to, learning what's good for you and then encouraging yourself to continue to do what's good for you. So you can just continually elevate into that.
yeah, and that's exactly what I unlocked. It unlocked a sense of self-love within myself, because within that week I was sabotaging. I was like, Gemma, you've done so well. Why have you done this? And then after it, I looked at myself like, why am I talking to myself like that? That's not how you should treat yourself. And then I dived deep into the self-love part within my journey, and that's where it all trust started happening, like all my trust and everything started shifting even more. And I feel like the relationship with yourself through everything and through your journey is the most powerful thing. So it's
Mhm.
reminding yourself that you need to put yourself first, especially when it comes to healing.
Yeah. How did you cultivate that? How did you cultivate that self love?
just talking to myself and really like feeling within my body and putting my like I would do meditations and instead of being in the mind, I would just tune into my body and I would talk to myself as if like I was a friend,
Mhm.
trust myself. And then when it came to other aspect after my meditation, I was trying to do it externally. So if I was triggered in an environment, I would take myself away and I would just close my eyes and I'd be like, "You're okay, you're safe," and just remind yourself that you are so safe in this situation. And then after that, my body kind of like I literally felt my body being so tense like this, and it literally relaxed.
Mm.
So the whole I think that was kind of like the huge unlock for me because I'd done
Mm.
so much self-sabotaging through the whole of my life of trying of yeah, depressing of who I am, and then now finally tuning in and trusting myself and loving myself for who I am, it's unlocked a whole new Sophia. Wow.
It's interesting, hey, like witnessing the inner voice as well. And
Yeah.
there's a guy, Michael A. Singer, that has a really interesting analogy. He just talks about how, can you imagine that inner voice being your friend and sitting next to you in the car and going on a road trip with them? And it's like, what is that inner voice saying throughout that road trip? And it's just your inner voice chatting away, And it's like, are they your friend? Or are they a foe? Or are they a positive influence in your life? Or are they a negative influence in your life? And we go through the exercises of reframing things as well. And so when you had that inner voice coming up that might be like negative or like down on you, you can kind of reframe it and you can kind of rebuild your relationship with that inner voice, right? Which I think is like a really important part of the journey. It's getting the awareness first of identifying when that negative thinking coming up. And it's mostly the inner mind trying to protect you from something that's going on or has, and it's kind of gets stuck in this negative like protection loop. And you can kind of start to talk to it and let it know that things are safe and you can chill out a little bit and change the conversation that's happening in the head, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you would never even think that you need to build that relationship up with yourself. Like you just think that you need to have these relationships with your family or friends or like partners or everything. But the one with yourself is so the most important one because that's how you show up within the world. So
Yeah.
building that within yourself makes you a most incredible person.
Yeah. And I mean, you're glowing, by the way. Like, it's amazing. And I think that's the thing when you cultivate the inner voice and you become friends with the inner voice, it changes your energy and people start to interact with you in a different way. And I know it's only been a very short period of time, but one of the questions I like to ask is like, has this journey affected your relationships, whether they're with family or personal or friendships or anything like that? Have you noticed any shifts or have you made any decisions around friendships and boundaries and that sort of stuff as well?
Yeah, yes, massively. I've realized that who I want to surround myself with and who I want to attract into my life. And with me being on such a high level of awareness within myself now, it's really yeah, you really want to put boundaries in for yourself. Like, who do you want to surround yourself with that will lift you up? Is this person going to be draining me, or is this person going to be making me thrive to achieve more, or be the person that I want to be? So it has made me shift some relationships within my life, and it's also been quite challenging because it's environments as well. It's not just with people; it's where you want to be. For instance, like if you want to go out with friends, where are they going? Like, what is it that they're doing? Are they going out drinking? Like, you know that that's not going to sit well with you, or you know that that's going to be you're going to be surrounded by a group of people that aren't really your scene. So then, um, but also I see that in quite a positive way because you're putting yourself first. Whereas
Yeah.
before I had a problem of like trying to do things to fit in, or I want to be with these people to fit in. But now I feel so empowered just being in my own little, I want to do this for me and I don't care if I miss out. And like unlocking that skill is amazing. So I'm actually really not that bothered about the whole shift.
Yeah. You cultivate that the internal love, and then you stop looking for it externally, and then
Yeah,
you start to attract the different type of person as well that actually
like,
resonates really
yeah.
closely with who you are.
I've noticed that as well, the energy that I'm giving off, like the more people I want to surround myself with, they kind of just coming into your life like that. And it's like,
Yeah,
how are you're just, it's like the universal, it's just working with you then. Your energy's working with you.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Um, okay, cool. Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Um, for anyone that is maybe the Gemma 3, 4 months ago that's kind of sitting on the fence or trying to figure out like what's the solution for them, would you have sort of any sort of message for encouragement or hope for them?
I would say if you're on the fence about going with the program, I would say just do it. It's life changing in so many aspects that you you wouldn't believe, and I would want to share anything with this. Like I'd keep every single person I meet, I'm telling them about it just to show that they have superpowers to kind of unlock within themselves that all these external things that we've been suppressed over is just they're just external things, and within that you can unlock those things. So it's just incredible experience.
Yeah, amazing. And I see now in your life, you're starting to teach some of these things. It's so amazing to me. This is one of the things that I love about this is one of the missions of the business is to, share the information because this is just information that we don't have, right? It's almost like how to human. It's like, well, how do we not learn this stuff in school?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I just want to give this information to as many people as I can. And if they pass it on to somebody else, and that's a beautiful butterfly effect that we can create. And so many people I've spoken to are changing career paths and they're like, I want to get this information out as well. And I've seen you just sharing freely like your journey and learnings as you've gone along. Um, yeah, what's your moves now? Are you going to go back for the yachts for a while, or have you decided? Are you happy where you are, or are you going to? What's your direction? Have you decided yet, or are you just sitting in the presence and figuring?
No, so I've because obviously before I moved to Bali, trying to figure out what my passion was to try and share with the world because I want to work for myself and I want to help people. Now I've healed myself. I know what I wanted to help people with, and I want to share with the world. So I want to dive. Whereas before, I was putting so much pressure on something that wasn't aligning with me. But now I know what I like and what it is that I want to do. And yeah, I want to help people heal themselves from burnout because I burn out on the yachts. So I want
Mm,
courses and do one-to-ones with people maybe in the future once I've built that the course knowledge. So I want to help people from burnout that have gone through the same issues as me with loss of period, bloating and discomfort and everything, and completely just disconnected from who they are and themselves. I would love to be able to, because there's so many people that are stuck in that loop and they just have
millions.
faith. Yeah. And it's like, you can do it. You can
Mm,
hope and
yeah,
it is possible. So I want to be able to give that out to the world. So
awesome.
I would say that going back on the boat, it's
Yeah,
last resort. Last resort.
yeah.
Like if I need to go back to make some money, then it will be a last.
I love it. I think you're a different person on the boat. And actually, this is pretty cool.
I think with the whole lifestyle and my boundaries are being put in again. Like I know my boundaries now, so maybe I'll dip myself in just to say, oh, what's it gonna be like as me as a new human now?
Wow. Yeah. Can
Like,
start to expand and test in different ways, and you learn about how your capacity starts to grow as well, and your ability to deal with difficult situations and things like that when you have some of these tools as well, and you can sort of identify what's going on and separate
yeah,
yourself or create boundaries where you need.
yeah. It's also overcoming that fear within yourself as well, and like
Mm.
obviously you're putting yourself in another triggering environment. So overcoming that fear, if you can overcome that fear with a triggering environment so big as that for me, then you can overcome anything in life. So
Yeah.
testing the
Amazing. Awesome. Is there anything else that maybe I didn't ask or you wanted to cover or share?
I would say just through the journey, just if anyone was to go through it, just be so positive and trust that it's you because you go through tough times. I remember there was tough times where your energy is low and you feel like you have a bad week or a bad day, but it's just a bad week or a bad day. If you push through that, then it'll become through a ripple effect. And I know my journey was quick, but and some people's journeys are slow, but if you just trust, put all trust and faith into the healing and just fully dive into it, then remarkable things can just
Mm,
so
amazing. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to share your story. I really appreciate it.
no, thank you for having me. And honestly, Scott, I feel like just people come into your life for certain reasons, and you are that person. So I was so grateful to meet you that day and that you put me onto this. So thank you.
Awesome.